Hiya! Welcome! Here I am back to do another overlong, not edited very much, waffle for you great champions of my Patreon. How long's it been since I did my last one? I don't think it's been 2 months, but it's getting on for it. Maybe 6 weeks or so was the last one. I don't schedule these as like, oh, I need to do one a month. I just kind of like to do them as and when I feel I've got enough to sit here and update you on and just talk about a few things. And as I always do, because otherwise I would forget most of what I want to say, and to list everything, I've written everything down. First item is just the introduction, which I've done, higher welcome, etc. And to thank you all for your continued support. It does genuinely mean a lot. We've had 10 patrons now, must be at least a month, probably more actually thinking about it. And that's a fantastic number. I would like to get more. I'm thinking about maybe shilling the Patreon a little bit on Instagram. I set up an Instagram account not that long ago. Mainly at the behest of Project Pops, actually. He said that I ought to set one up. And that leads me in nicely to welcoming Kyle, Project Pops, as I don't think you remember for the last Patreon exclusive waffle, although obviously all those videos are available further on back, so you may have seen older ones, but probably not, because these are tend to be over half an hour at a time. But thank you so much, Kyle, for joining us. So much appreciated, my friend. And thank you to all 10 of you for just supporting me, believing in this channel. It does mean the world to me. I probably don't say that enough, or maybe I do. I don't need to say it every day, do I? Perhaps. So 10, we're at 10. Obviously, you know, I don't want to set myself limits. So like 10's plenty. You know, I want as many people as possible. I'm not saying everyone who potentially would be a Patreon would join our Facebook chat group. That's probably a good thing ultimately. Some people who may join in the future may not have Facebook, but you know, if they join in my Patreon, then that's the main thing. The Facebook chat is just a little. Most of the time it's a bonus until Jason opens the wrong window and puts something in there that just baffles everyone. Although then again, when he's opened the right window to chat, he's baffling people. You know I love you, Jace. I'd like to get at least another 2 patrons, I think, before I do my next exclusive Squad of Champions only giveaway. Simply because, obviously, you know, the money that patrons bringing in does go towards, you know, the upkeep of this channel, which has been pretty much mainly the prizes. As we've had, is it 3 exclusive giveaways now? Yes, I think it is. So I'm buying 2, 3, 4 pops at a time for each of those. Is, you know, obviously it's not going to be cheap. So obviously, you know, I'm making up the shortfall from my own pocket, and I'm perfectly happy to do that. But I do feel if we want to have more exclusive giveaways, and I certainly do, because I really enjoy doing those, because it's nice to reward you guys on a more personal, almost one-to-one level. But I do feel that we need some more people coming in, just so that I'm getting that little bit extra income to be able to keep affording to buy these pops to give away. So if you see what I mean. There was probably a much simpler way of me saying that, but never mind. So if you can share the Patreon about, just mention it in your videos, and if you think there's an appropriate place to post a link, then please do. But if we only ever got to 10 and that was it, then that'd be fine, you know. And I dare say we'd still have another giveaway eventually, but I can't guarantee their regularity until, you know, we've got a slightly higher income coming in, and obviously that means getting more people involved into the squad. There we go. Right, next thing on my list It's about something from last month, nothing to do with YouTube or my channel. It's just something that happened in my personal life. That I think a couple of you have probably chatted to you very briefly about it, but generally it's something that I've not shared. I don't tend to share these things on social media. I say that. I think I used to years ago. I used to be kind of a little bit more open and sort of, oh, I'm having a crap day, or yeah, I'm having a great day, you know, like and comment sort of thing. I don't believe in any of that now. Mainly because I worry about sharing too much public information on Facebook now, because I just worry about all this data harvesting, and it does go on. You know, it's not like this is some sort of conspiracy, and it is, you know, that is a real concern, and Facebook admitted to it. No, but what I wanted to talk about was something that I've not really mentioned on social media. I might have dropped like sort of slight hints in places, and I've joined a private Facebook group to discuss this with other people. But last month, would have been probably just over a month ago, maybe 4 or 5 weeks, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. Yep. Come to Pilsley in Chesterfield. The phone signal is so crap, it'll make your speakers talk to you. Right, yeah, I was diagnosed with Asperger's last month. It was something that I had been waiting for nearly a year and a half, actually. Looking back, I think, why didn't I pursue this sooner? Because I'm 39 years old now. I would have been not even 38 when I first went to my GP and did all these initial ASD, autism spectrum tests. And then I got a letter through shortly after that. This was still last year, obviously, saying you are now on the waiting list, but bear in mind it can take up to 13 months, which was about what it took. But altogether, from me sort of, you know, starting the process to the assessment that I had last month in August, it would have been almost 18 months really from start to finish. And it's not something that's massively changed my life instantly. Oh, like as soon as I had that diagnosis, everything's different. It's not. And I never expected it to be. Ever since I was a small child, and this is what I was talking about with the NHS assessor last month, in an assessment that was very intense. It lasted, nearly 5 hours, with like one short break and another even shorter break. So, but ever since I was a child, I felt that my brain worked differently to my peers. You know, at school, I just knew that I was different to everyone else, and you know, I'm not saying that that's something unique for people with Asperger's, but like I said, I don't want to go into grave detail, because then it's just I could sit here for hours just trying to explain, you know, everything that I did all that with the assessor last month. But I'm glad to have got the diagnosis. I've joined a group on Facebook that I haven't really used much yet, but it's got other people who have either been diagnosed with Asperger's or are waiting for a diagnosis, but they think they have it. I wasn't sure exactly what it was. I knew that I'd be on the ASD spectrum somewhere. Obviously, when I took all the initial tests last year, and I was like scoring really high on them, but I didn't know it was specifically Asperger's. But that's what I was diagnosed with, and it's just, for me, it's just good to have that. Even though I'm not one for labels, it's good to have that classification, so that, because I know my behaviour can be quite eccentric at times, and I communicate maybe a little bit different to how normal, in inverted commas, people communicate. but it's good for me to know if anyone needs an explanation as to why I do some of the things that I do, and I do a lot of weird shit. I mean, you guys fortunately don't know the half of it, but I try and keep it on the down low as best I can, and I know I don't always succeed. But it's good for me to say, well, I'm an Aspie. I'm on the autistic spectrum. The autistic spectrum, yeah. But I've got Asperger's, and what with there being more knowledge about autism and stuff. And my daughter's autistic. She's sort of more. She's severe sounds bad, because it's not severe as in she can't do anything, because she can. This is my eldest daughter, by the way. She was diagnosed back when she was like 4 years old, and she's almost 17 now. So it's obviously, that's something we've got in common, really, but mine is a lot different from hers. She's not very independent. I am, in certain ways. She expresses herself and communicates a lot differently to me. We're similar in some other ways, obviously, but we like sort of the similar things on TV, and we both love Father Ted. So that's a nice thing to bond over. Father Jack saying feck and arse and drink. So yeah. So that's what happened last month. It was quite a big thing for me. Like I say, it's not a life-changing thing as in suddenly everything's different, but it may help with certain things in the future. I think it will. It will help, certainly with, me having a better understanding of why I behave the way that I do. And, to let you people know, as I consider all of your friends, you're all kind enough, and I know you're on a personal enough level for you to support me on Patreon and YouTube, and for us to chat together every day. I'm happy to just talk about that now, because like I say, I did think about like posting a status on Facebook or whatever and saying, oh, I got diagnosed with Asperger's today, but that would have probably been it, and then people would have been like, oh, okay, but he's not going into any detail. And then what I thought about doing is like doing a sort of sit-down vlog, basically doing what I'm doing now, but doing it publicly to YouTube. And I thought, no, I don't need to tell people. That's not who I am. I've always been pretty private. I'm just even more private now as I've got older. And that's not secretive, it's just, if I want to tell people something, I'll tell them, but I'll probably just tell them like one-to-one or in a small group like I'm doing here. I'm not one for going on social media and just documenting my life. I mean, I don't see the point, really. Like, we didn't used to do it before Facebook came along, did we? We just all got on with our lives as simply and quietly as possible. Sound like an old fart now, aren't I? Whereas everything now needs to be shared on social media, like, and it's, I don't know, it's a little bit depressing to me, I think. Plus, like I said before, I do have concerns about data mining on Facebook, particularly now. I saw the documentary on Netflix. I ought to have put this in my recommendations, actually. I can't remember the name of it. If I'll look it up and I'll put the name on screen. But the documentary that was all about the Cambridge Analytica scandal during the 2016 Brexit votes and US presidential election, and it was quite scary stuff, really, just how these companies who Facebook are commissioning, employing, can sort of tailor ads and other people's posts to you. It's, you don't think you're being manipulated, but you are. But anyway, that's not really relevant to my diagnosis from last month, but it ties in together, in a sort of way. So yeah, social media, it has its place. I think it's very good in a lot of ways. Obviously, YouTube, you could consider that a form of social media, really, as we have two-way interaction with comments, the comment sections, and collaborations, and all the rest of it. So I'm not having a total downer on it by any stretch, but I do think that some things, particularly when it pertains to a person's private life, staying private, you really do need to be careful with what you say. And plus, it's just horrible to think that people's politics and are being influenced. I don't do politics on my channel or in the chat group. I've got strong feelings on a lot of things. Other things I don't have particularly strong feelings on, but certain things, and I might hint at them now and again over on Twitter and Facebook and even in chats and things. But on YouTube, I try to be totally non-political. But there are things I feel very strongly about, and that ties back into my Asperger's, because I remember as a child, I'll tell a little story. As a child, would have been probably 9 or 10 years old. There was an Asian family. I think they were Bengali or Pakistani who had moved into the area, and the little boy, he was quite a bit younger than me, maybe 5 or 6. He was, lovely little kid who was at the same primary school as me, and although no one was being, to the best of my knowledge, was being overtly racist to him, to his face, suddenly there was like a spate of people sticking coloured dots on the forehead and sort of talking in that kind of stereotypical Asian accent. And even as a 9 or 10-year-old, I knew that was wrong. I hated racism and bigotry even back then. And I went to the head teacher and just said, look, I think this seems, I'm not saying it's directed at this kid particularly, but it seems a coincidence that he's started school recently, and we're getting a load of people putting these stickers, these circular stickers on their head, and being racist. And the headmistress, she just she called like an assembly and put a stop to it. And so I think that was kind of like my, even though I didn't know it at the time, and I didn't know exactly what I was until, very recently, recent years. But I think that was kind of my Asperger's at work in a way, because I had that sort of heightened sense of thinking differently to others, and I just knew it was wrong as quite a young child. And that's why I don't like to see this Greta, what's her name, Greta Thunberg. She gets slagged off by all these middle-aged, right-wing, horrible people on Twitter. Like, oh, she's so miserable, look at her, and like she's been manipulated. She probably does care as much as she says she does about the environment. And though that's not something that interests me massively, she's a kid, admittedly, she's got Asperger's, but, she gets such abuse off these horrible people, these fucking dickheads who just will deny climate change until they're blue in the face. And it's like, well, at the end of the day, you are picking on a little girl with an autistic spectrum disorder. I don't think she's been manipulated by parents, but her parents are supporting her, obviously, because otherwise, you couldn't get like a young girl sort of travelling the world talking about climate change and the environment. But I know from experience that someone who is at a very young age can have strong feelings about things that are important to them. So that's why I think, fair play to her. If she feels strongly about it and her parents and her family are supporting her in sort of meeting people and giving these lectures and stuff, then fuck the right-wing arseholes. Anyway, sorry for the language. Bloody hell. over 20 minutes gone, and I've basically hardly talked about anything that I wanted to. I will go try and be a bit more quicker now. There's a list of upcoming videos here that I don't need to discuss in length, and I've probably missed a few out on here, but there's a lot coming up on the channel, but over the next few months really. Some of this should be imminent, and then other, like, it could be like into the new year. But first one I've got written down is a music pre-order from Amazon. That's actually out today. I won't say what it is, but if you've been keeping your ear to the ground, you may know. But for some reason, Amazon have been late with their shipments. It might get sent out today, possibly. The estimated date of arrival is Tuesday, but I think it'll come before then. But so Amazon are a little bit disappointing here, because normally if something's coming out on a day and you're a Prime member, you will normally get it on the day, but I'm not. It won't come today because I would have had a notification. I think it'll be at least tomorrow, if not Sunday. But that's a music thing that I'm hoping to do a video on. There is, and I did mention this in the Facebook chat recently, there's an unusual pop from Glass Shelf Collectibles, who I've not used before. It's the first time I've used that site. It's probably the strangest pop that I've ever bought this, but at the price of it, which was £5, I couldn't resist. That it's not been sent out yet, but it can't be long because it was in stock and I ordered it a couple of days ago. There's a Hull Pops pre-order that's possibly November. It says November ? On there. That will be the other half of the order that I made where Erica from Stranger Things comes. So that's a bit of a hint as to what this will be. So I think November is the tentative release date for that. There's an order that I'm paying off via layaway from Culture Freak again. That should be paid off early December. Really excited about that. That's a couple. We'll say it's two really interesting pops there that I can't wait to show you. Can't wait to have in my collection. There's Pop in a Box pre-order that I'm not sure of the release date. Could be December. It could even be into the new year. That was the other half of the order that I made when I got Kool-Aid Man. I love that pop, Kool-Aid Man. It's fantastic. But no idea when this other one, the pre-order that I made in the same transaction, is coming out. At least December, but I've got a feeling it'll probably be the new year. There's a big Hull Pops pre-order bundle that I ordered and paid off over layaway a few weeks ago. That I finished paying that off. That's due in December. That's a lot of pops, possibly the most pops ever in one order. Even more so than The Office, possibly, I think, that Office bundle. That's possibly December as well. And then a double pre-order from Glass Shelf Collectibles. So I've used them twice now. The first one for this weird pop that will be coming, hopefully, touch wood, next week. And then only last night I did this, a double pre-order that I think is going to be probably released in the new year. So that's all the unboxing ones, and then any other videos. Me, Jason, Vicky and Rachel are back doing the live WWE panel shows, which is great. We're using StreamYard now since Hangouts on Air finished back in August. It works great. It works better than Hangouts in a way. I just hope that this free option remains, because I've looked at the paid options for StreamYard and it's pretty expensive. I mean, if I had a ton of patrons, then that'd be the sort of thing that would be covering the cost, really. You know, being able to do live streaming, with, bells and whistles. But, if the free thing is going to continue, then great, because it works really well. So yeah, we do those, and the next one we've got due is in a week's time, actually. And you know me, I like to sort of do like little comedy bits, music parodies and things. I love doing those Top of the Pops Lost Tapes videos, even though they're quite laborious to edit and seek out all the clips you need. I still enjoy it, even though it takes ages. It's just fun to do. And it's just great to get people like Jason involved, who's been involved in pretty much all of them. And obviously the latest one, which was only out a few days ago, we heard the dulcet tones of Leroy Screwballs and Big Inzy as well. So thank you to you three for contributing. Please feel free to keep contributing anytime. It doesn't matter if, like, you don't have to say, oh, are you planning one? Just if you've got a funny voice clip you want to share, just record it and put it in the group chat. That's what me and Jason do in a separate group chat. You know, well, you know, I think we all know what the kind of things Jason records, as well as as well as song lyrics. But I won't go into that. Oh God. That's obviously open to everyone. Just if you want to contribute, then that's brilliant. I'd love you to be a part of it. If not, then fine. I just hope you enjoy watching. So yeah, I think I got through those fairly quick. I'll give a few sort of recommendations. I won't bother with the YouTube recommendations this time because the only people I could think of, the only channels, were ones that I think you all know anyway. I'll try and rack my brain, and maybe the next time I do this waffle type video, I'll try and think of some more YouTube channels to recommend. But the recommendations that I've got, just general sort of television / streaming, they're all from Netflix. Season 3 of Glow, well, I recommend all of Glow really if you've not seen it, but season 3 is the new one. I couldn't remember if I'd recommended this in the last Patreon Waffle. If I have, then I'm repeating myself and I apologise, but Glow season 3, really enjoyed that. Funny series. Sorry, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Look at the lights, James. I think it's got... yeah, great comedy drama, Glow. Love it, and it's kind of got a wrestling theme to it, but people who aren't into wrestling would enjoy it, so don't let that put you off. The other things that I've watched recently, there's a few things that I've watched, but a couple that I want to particularly recommend, as I thought they were very good, was a little series. I think there was 6 episodes in it on Netflix, The Spy, starring Sacha Baron Cohen, based on a true story. First sort of serious non-comedy thing I'd seen Baron Cohen in, and I thought he was great in it. I won't give spoilers out, but that is a good series. There's only like 6 episodes in it. It's based on a true story, but if you're into kind of spy thrillers like I am, I love those generally. And you know, ones that have got kind of a bit of a historical. These was set in like the late 50s, early 60s, I think. So there's that nice sort of 60s aesthetic to it as well. But The Spy on Netflix, that's really good. And the other thing, I only watched this a few days ago, I didn't even realise it had come out, is Between Two Ferns, the movie. That's, I can never get his name right, Zach Galifianakis. He did those little skits on Funny or Die, which then went to YouTube, the little awkward interviews with celebrities. And I just love his cat. I mean, he plays a version of himself. He always reminds me of Zach Galifianakis on Between Two Ferns, as like if Alan Partridge had a baby with a serial killer. It's just really that awkward and cringy, like, but so funny. And the movie, there's a full-length movie. I will say that movie, I think it tailed off a little towards the end, but it's worth watching. It's only about 1 hour and 20 minutes. But I think the first half of the movie is better than the second half. But it's good enough for me to recommend Between Two Ferns, the full-length movie. I think that's about it, really. I also want to wish Abigail Barry a very happy birthday. I didn't write that down, so I was lucky. I didn't forget, but it is her birthday today. This video should be going up on her birthday. So many happy returns, Queen, from me, and no doubt all the rest of the squad of champions. Hope you're having a great day. Hope Leroy has saved enough money that he's not spending on grails to be able to treat you today. Just trying to think if there's anything else that I've not written down that I want to talk about. Oh, just going back to recommendations. It's not a recommendation because I can't recommend it. No one's seen it yet. But I'm just so looking forward to El Camino, the Breaking Bad sequel movie that's out on the 11th of October. So it's not long now. How many weeks is that? 2 weeks. 2 weeks today, that. So those of you, and a few of you have said that you're going to try to, those of you who are going to try and binge watch Breaking Bad again in just over 2 weeks, good luck with that. I thought about doing that as well, but I've got other things that I'm doing, and I have rewatched Breaking Bad a ton of times. Like I say, it is up there. It's like top 3 all-time favourite shows, Breaking Bad for me. I think it's fighting for first place alongside The US Office and The Prisoner, really. But I really can't wait for El Camino. That is gonna be, yeah, that's gonna be that's gonna be like Line of Duty style for me, where like, so, you know, phones and stuff just go off or go into Do Not Disturb, and, you know, I'm just focused for an hour and a half or however long it lasts for. Right, I think that's got to be it from me. I don't know how much editing there'll be. I'll try maybe do a little bit of editing in this to get it a bit under half an hour maybe, as it's a long time for you to watch. I do always recommend that people maybe listen to this whilst doing something else, because it's only me sat here. There's not anything to see really, you know. I'll put the odd image up on screen, but you know, treat it as a podcast or something, really. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all once more for your continuing support with Itchy Nose. I hope that I haven't bored you too much with me talking about stuff. I know I kind of went off quite a while on the old Asperger's thing, but there we are. It's my waffle, and I'll waffle if I want to. That just doesn't work. Right, that's a good time to call this quits. Thanks everybody. Look out for my next video, whatever that'll be, and look forward to talking to you all in the chat as always. And enjoy your weekends, whatever it is that you're doing. And I will, of course, see you for my next waffle video and for my next general YouTube video. Cheers, everyone. See ya!